Here, but first, a special guest. Let's go to Capitol Hill. Congresswoman Karen Bass joins us, Democrat from California and chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. I'd love your thoughts on this vote, and are you as surprised as I am? Are you beyond surprised that there's not any Republican support for it at this moment?
Well, sadly, I'm not surprised at all, because they are so frightened of him that they have decided to essentially hand him their dignity and their integrity. I look forward to taking this vote. It's so sad, though, that we seem to be here every few weeks. And the only thing that I could think of is that he decided to throw this bomb to divert us away from Mueller's impending hearing in a week, and also the failed raids that he said were going to take place. He always throws a racist bomb at a strategic time when he wants to divert our attention.
Congresswoman, do you believe that there's any danger in the constant stream of upping the ante that seems to come from this White House and this president? His words have a long tail. They're echoed in conservative media outlets. He had social media provocateurs at the White House last week and celebrated what are usually false attacks. One of them had put out a false attack against Senator Kamala Harris. Are you concerned that this debate is getting out of control?
Well, I absolutely am, and one of them also had put out a really anti-Semitic political cartoon as well, and he was welcomed into the White House. I will tell you that I am seriously worried about the lives of our four colleagues, two of which are members of the Congressional Black Caucus, but these four women go through death threats every single day. They don't talk about it very often. I'm very worried that one of them might be injured, if not killed. And you remember when the guy went in and shot up the synagogue, remember who he cited? He said that the president said that they were getting funding to encourage Central Americans to come over to the United States. I believe that his racist, hateful rhetoric absolutely has consequences. All he needs to do is trigger somebody who is mentally unstable or who is a bigger racist than he is, and somebody else is going to get hurt. I believe people have already been hurt because of his racist rhetoric.
Congresswoman, I just want to get you on the record and make sure that I understand exactly what you're saying. Do you believe that other than endangering the lives of these four congresswomen that he targeted in those racist tweets, do you believe he'd have blood on his hands if there were a racially inspired attack in this country?
I absolutely believe that, yes. But, you know, remember now, before our last election, we had 4 acts of domestic terrorism. You remember the guy that delivered the bombs? Do you remember his van was covered in pro-Trump bumper stickers and posters? So I think that he's already had that effect, and I'm very, very concerned that it'll continue. I have been afraid for my colleagues' safety for a long time now, and I think what he did over this weekend just puts them in further danger.
Congresswoman, are you know, I'm old enough to remember when there were 2 channels on Capitol Hill, the public sentiment and the private conversations. Are you able to speak privately with any Republicans about what you just shared on our air?
I mean, I have to tell you, sadly, typically they do come up and say, oh my God, what he said now. I've not heard that today. I haven't. None of them have come up and spoken to me the way they usually have. You know, a lot of times they're embarrassed. They kind of hold their head down and say, you know, I wish he would stop saying those things.
You know, it's a remarkable decline, though. I mean, there are some people who think this was always the face and the heart of the Republican Party, but we showed that tape of just 3 years ago when he was running for president, Republicans who were walking those halls behind you, condemning racist attacks. Do you think the gender of these 4 congresswomen comes into play as well?
Oh, you know, a caucus that has 199 members and 14 of which are women? Absolutely. I think gender is always front and center. But remember now, even more important than the rhetoric are the policies. And frankly, whether my colleagues would come up to me afterwards and kind of disassociate themselves with his rhetoric, their policies have been very consistent, and their policies absolutely have a disproportionate negative impact on communities of color.
Congresswoman, will you do me a favor and come on back if you have any news in the next 51 minutes or any inkling that Republicans in public or private would like to support this resolution tonight?
You know what? I'll go talk to a few right now on the floor. And if they tell me privately, I won't disclose their names, but I'm happy to come back on the air and tell you.
We'll keep their secret. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. We're grateful.
Absolutely.